What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Chance Talks Business podcast, where we help small and medium-sized businesses reach their full potential. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that I believe is very important in the business world, and that's the top 10 traits, my top 10 traits of a successful business owner. There's way more than this. There's more than just these 10. These 10 are what I feel are the most important. But first, before I get to that, I just want to let y'all know a little bit about what's going on with me and my business. I recently reached out to a podcast that I've been listening to. Actually, they reached out to me in my DMs after I shared some of their content. And they're like, hey, man, you've been a follower. You've been a supporter for a long time. Why haven't you joined our mastermind? Why haven't you joined our inner circle group? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I support these guys. I, believe in what they're doing, and I know I get a lot of value from their podcast. So I recently joined their mastermind, and already, just the first call, received a idea or two that is potentially going to make me way over what I invested in this mastermind. The mastermind is from, or the inner circle is from Trevor Crowley and Cal Goodman. And Cal actually wrote this book, The Ultimate Networking Machine, and I highly recommend this book. He goes into detail about his business journey and gives you a whole lot of good information in this book. You can pick this up on Amazon, and I'm sure just about anywhere that books are sold. But that's a great book. I'm looking forward to being in this mastermind group and adding value and receiving value from all the members. But today, I want to talk about the top 10 most important traits that I believe for any business owner. And we're going to start with number 1, that's vision. You have to have vision and the goal in your mind, but you have to also be able to have the vision to see what's ahead and not just what's going on in front of you right now, because there are times where things are just going to be hard. If you've been in business any time at all, even just starting a business is not easy, and you got to have vision and know where you're headed, have a goal to where you're going. If you don't have this vision, I believe, that's one of the most important parts is having that vision. Because if you don't, it's like trying to go on vacation and you just start driving in one direction and hope that you make it. It's not having any kind of direction. It's not having any kind of sense of where you're going. You have to know where your industry is headed and stay current on certain topics and make sure that you know where your industry is headed, just like you know where your business is headed. And you also have to have the number 2 trait that you have to have is resiliency. You have to be resilient because, like I said, times are going to be hard. Things aren't always going to go as you want them to go or as you think they should go. So you have to have that resiliency to bounce back, because being in business is hard and growing a successful business is extremely hard. The majority of businesses fail within the first year or so, and then as the time goes on, more and more businesses fail. But then I think I'm about 3 years full time into my business, and I know every year there's things that get harder, but then there's things that also get easier because you're not having once you go over a challenge, you get through a challenge. The next time that challenge comes around, and most of the time they do come back around, whenever that challenge comes back around, you have the tools and the knowledge to get past that. So you're not having to face it for the first time. But there's going to be, as you grow, there's going to be more and more and more problems and bigger problems that you have to solve. Solving those smaller problems gets you prepared to solve the big problems. So if you have resiliency, and whenever the hard times come, if you're able to not give up and you're able to bounce back from the bad times, then that just makes the good times even better. So you have to have resiliency. Next, this kind of goes along with the resiliency. You have to have determination. You have to pull up to the shore and push the boats out and just say, hey, I'm going to make this happen. If you know that it's a good idea and you know that you can be successful at it, you have to have determination and push through and make sure that you do whatever it takes to make that goal and make that business succeed. That was my problem when I first started out in business. I would try this thing for 2 or 3 months, and then I would see, oh, this is a good idea, and I would hop over here, and then I would hop back to doing this, and I didn't have any kind of resiliency or determination to make it work. With the business that I'm in now, I am determined that I'm going to find a way to make them work. Now, there does come a time, I believe, when you should throw in the towel and you should say, hey, this opportunity, this vehicle is not working for me. But that doesn't mean that you should quit doing it. If you've done proper research into the industry, you shouldn't give up on it the first month, 2 months. You need to give it at least a year, 2 years to see any traction. And if it's not a good idea, then, that's something that you should work out beforehand. But don't give up on it too easy and too early, because you could be just seconds away or just, a few moves away from making everything work. So you have to be, also, this is number 5, you have to be a risk taker. You have to be able to take risk and assess risk and take calculated risk. This doesn't mean just jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. You have to calculate the risk and know that in order for you to grow, you're going to have to take risks sometimes. It's not going to be 100% safe all the time. You're not going to be able, there's not always going to be a safety net down there. If you look at some of the biggest companies in the world, they took risk. The owners took risk. So you're going to have to, if you want it to work, you got to take calculated risk. Don't go put all your money down on one deal, and the likelihood of that deal not working is very high. If it's not going to work, you need to take the risk, but make sure that it's a risk that you researched and that you have put a lot of thought into. You have to have adaptability. Number 6 is adaptability. You have to be able to adapt to not only changes within your business, changes within the industry. At any time, something could come along, especially as technology moves so fast as it does today. Something could come along and totally flip your business upside down. So you have to be prepared for that and be able to be adaptable and change things up. If you have vision and you're studying your industry, a lot of times you can see those things coming, but not all the time. So you have to be able to adapt. You have to, if you have a very important employee or team member on your team and they quit out of the blue, if they just leave you, you have to be able to adapt and be able to make changes and put the right people in place so that your business can continue to run. You may have a huge vendor that cancels on you. You may have a huge client. Your biggest client might call you, and it could be things that you can't really control, and they have to leave you. Or it could be you're not providing the service that they want, and they have to leave you. Well, you have to be able to adapt to that. That brings me to my next point, my next trait. I believe that you have to be a good decision maker and a fast decision maker. There's a direct correlation between the time that it takes a person to make a decision and the success that they have. You have to be able to make big decisions very fast, because if you're able to make decisions 3 times faster or even 5 times faster than other people in your industry, you're able to move faster. You're able to make things happen a lot faster, which gives you an advantage in the market. So, and just overall, like the more that you sit and you think about a decision, usually it just weighs you down, puts stress on you, and that isn't good for you. So you have to be able to make decisions fast and just trust that the decision that you're making is good. So when I was saying like risk taking, yeah, you want to be able to kind of assess the risk and see, but you don't want to, if a decision should only take 24 hours, you shouldn't drag it out for 2 months. Just make the decision and go with the consequences, but do it in a responsible way. So yeah, you have to be a decisive person and be able to make decisions very quickly and just go with the consequences. But if you're always making the decisions, then as things come up from those decisions, you'll be able to make more decisions that will make that situation better if you happen to make the wrong decision. We all make bad choices, we all make wrong decisions, but if you use all these traits as all together, if you put these traits together, you're going to make less and less bad decisions. And the longer you're in business and the more challenges that you overcome, that's going to cause you to make less and less bad decisions also. You also have to have people skills. This is something that I struggled with also. I was raised, I'm the only child that lived in my home. I was raised by my mother, and it was just me and her in the home. So I struggled a lot with my people skills, and I feel like I'm more of I wouldn't say that I'm introverted, because I don't want to label myself with anything like that, but I think the world would say that I'm an introverted person, but really I'm an observer. I watch things, I observe the situation, see the people that I should be around, the people that I shouldn't be around, and I like to observe and watch things just a little bit before I make before I jump out there into something that's a bad situation. It goes back to decision making. But at the same time, if it's someone that I'm close to or someone that I like, I can talk your head off. So it doesn't, I wouldn't really call myself an introvert. I just choose my circle wisely, and I really feel like I thrive more with a smaller group of people in a smaller circle than I do with a larger group of people. I don't really get into a lot of the small talk and stuff like that, but that's things that I had to overcome as time has went on. I have to become a better communicator, and I have to become more of a people person, and realize that I have something to add to them, they have something to add to me, and you never know what a relationship can do for your business or your life in general. There's been people that come into my life and people that come into my business that if I hadn't put myself out there, or they hadn't reached out and connected to me, we might not have made that connection and developed friendships. So you have to be a people person to the extent that you have to be comfortable enough to reach out, to hold a conversation with someone, and to be able to build a relationship with them. Also, you have to have, I believe that this trait right here is probably, I believe it is the most important trait that you can have in life, period. Not just a business owner or a brand owner. I believe that discipline is the biggest trait that you should have in your life, because without discipline, nothing is possible. You have to have the discipline whenever you don't feel like it to get up and do the things that you need to do. Because if you let your mind, you have to have control, discipline over your mind, over your body. You have to tell yourself that you are going to do it. You have to make the commitment and say that you're going to do something. If you don't have the discipline, you're not going to have any success in life. Sure, you might be able to get by for a while, but let's say you get even a job that you love, or you start a business that you love. If you're not putting 100% effort and doing the things that you know that you need to do every single day, eventually that job's going to go, that business that you're building is going to go. You have to have discipline, because discipline turns into habit, and then habits are what makes your life what it is. Every morning I get up and I have to drink a cup of coffee, but I need to be able to have that discipline to cut that out. If necessary, I need to be disciplined enough to cut that out. It could be something as simple as that. Or it could be the discipline to say, I got to get this project done. I need to sit here and work on this project between 7 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock in the morning all week long if I'm going to get this project done before the deadline. And you have to be able to do that, or you miss your deadline, and then that just causes a snowball of problems that could potentially affect your whole business. You could lose the client. You could, cause more problems in the future by missing that deadline. It may throw something else that they have going on, or something that you have going on. You have to push it back because you don't have the discipline to sit down and do what you're supposed to do. And this leads to the 10th. This is the 10th trait, which is also, I would say, probably the second most important trait in life and business, and that's ethical integrity. You have to have integrity. You have to be a person of your word. Whenever you say that you're going to do something, whether you tell yourself you're going to do something or you tell someone else you're going to do something, you need to have integrity, and you need to be ethical. In all your business practices, you need to be ethical. Now, I know there's times where we feel like if we cut corners here or there, that it's going to save us some money, or it's going to, make a project happen faster. But you have to be ethical in what you do, and you have to have integrity with what you do, or it's going to come back around to bite you. It may be beneficial short term, but long term, it's not going to work out for you. So that is a very important trait, I think. Right there, discipline and ethical integrity are right there neck and neck. Because if you don't have either one of those, it's only a matter of time before whatever you're doing fails. It's only a matter of time before you start losing customers. It's only a matter of time before employees don't want to work for you anymore because you're not doing the right thing and you're not disciplined enough to run your business. Oh, that was only 9. I forgot one. You have to have financial literacy. You don't have to be 100% financially literate, but you do have to have some understanding of how finances work, how to do a balance sheet, profit loss statements, or at least know how to read one. Hire someone who does know how to read one, but it's good for you to know, because so you'll know if that person is telling you the truth, if they're getting over on you, and it's just good to know. If you have the financial literacy, and you can make decisions based on you knowing and not having to rely on someone else, that's always a plus. So that's the last one actually that I had on here, is financial literacy. So vision, resiliency, determination, decisiveness, risk-taking, adaptability, financial literacy, people skills, discipline, ethical integrity. That's what you need to be a successful business owner. If you enjoyed this podcast, share it with someone. We're going to be getting to the interview soon. I got a few lined up. Until then, I'll keep doing some stuff like this. I'll be mixing in some of this content along with the interviews. So subscribe, share it with someone. If you're on an audio format, subscribe on that platform. Leave a review if you're able to. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.